Hello everyone and welcome back to Easy Natural English with Liam. As usual, I'll be speaking to you in natural but easier English so you can get used to English in a natural way. So to help you do that, today I'm just going to talk about what I've been doing recently because that's quite a natural kind of conversation. It's a very common thing that people talk about. Usually at the beginning of a conversation, a lot of people will ask, what have you been doing recently? And sometimes my students, if they're a new student, they get confused by this question. Quite often I say, how are you? And they say, yeah, I'm good, thank you. You? Yeah, I'm good. And I say, what have you been doing recently? And some new students, they get kind of confused, like, is that today? Is that yesterday? Are you asking me about later? What are you asking me? And I think that's because this present perfect tense, present perfect continuous, what have you been doing, is a bit confusing for people learning English. But so you need to remember this tense, have been doing, it means up until now. So it means starting from the past until now. But it doesn't mean a particular time in the past. So if someone asks you, what have you been doing recently? You can talk about this morning, you can talk about yesterday, you can talk about last week, just something in between the last time you spoke to that person and now. So for that reason, it's a common question that we ask people in English when we see somebody and we say, what have you been doing recently, or what have you been doing? And it just means since the last time I saw you. It could be 1 month ago, it could be 2 months ago, until now, what have you been doing? So it's a very open question. And if you did something interesting this morning, you can talk about that. If you did something interesting last month, you can talk about that. So it's a very open question and you can say whatever you like. So what have I been doing recently? If you've been listening for a while, then you'll know that I've been moving apartment. So we've been very busy sort of buying things we need for the apartment. And last few days I've been trying to get my new office ready. So I've got a desk to build. It's actually just over there. I haven't put it together yet. So we went to a store. So I live in Japan. If you don't know, there's a store called Nitori. And that's a shop. It's kind of similar to IKEA. And there you can buy kind of furniture and things like that and put it together. We've got a few things like shelves and things from there. And actually, the desk came from somewhere else. I forgot where I got the desk, but it's that kind of IKEA type furniture that I need to put together myself. So I still need to do that. Perhaps I have not been doing as much as I should have been doing with the apartment because recently I've been reading a lot of comics. So I like to read Japanese comics to study Japanese. It's a fun way to learn, natural sentence structure, to learn new vocabulary, to learn new grammar. And it's fun and you have pictures to help you. So I've said it before, but I really recommend reading comics in English. It can really help you to learn kind of conversational English. So that's why I read comics in Japanese, because I read books and newspapers too, but that's written Japanese and it's not like the way people speak. So when I read comics, it teaches me a lot about the way people speak. So then when I watch movies or TV shows, or when I hear people speaking here in Japan, it's easier for me to understand because I've picked up a lot of the kind of casual grammar and casual vocabulary that people use when they're speaking from comics. And you can actually learn a lot of difficult vocabulary too. I think sometimes people think comics will just have easy vocabulary, but I think you'll be surprised with some stories. So Recently, I was reading a comic called Ajin, and that's about these people who don't die and they keep coming back to life, and there are like police investigating them, and there's also like government talking about the situation. There's also like kind of all types of different characters. So there's kind of political speech, there's kind of police type speech, there's also kind of news reporter type speech. So even though it's a comic, it still has a lot of words and phrases that you'll also see in the news or on, if you're watching politics on TV or something like that. It can teach you comics sometimes can teach you all kinds of vocabulary. So I've been reading lots of comics recently. And I recently got into, or I've been interested in, one, it's called Blue Giant, and it's about a boy who wants to be a jazz musician. So he plays the saxophone, and it's a very fun comic because he's, has a lot of motivation. And personally, I think motivation is very important. Of course, you need it if you want to study languages. You need a lot of motivation. And I guess, like everybody, I enjoy seeing people who are motivated. So in this comic, this boy really wants to be the best saxophone player ever. And he's very dedicated to that. So he practices a lot, and he's got a lot of passion. And I think it's good to read stories like that. It kind of can help you with your own motivation and with your own passion, and kind of makes you feel like, I want to do something too. So it's a fun comic, and also it's the first comic or really anything I've read in Japanese which is about music. So I've been learning lots of new vocabulary about sort of technical music terms and things, which could be useful for me because I play guitar. So if I want to talk to other musicians about playing instruments in Japanese, hopefully this comic will help me to do so. So that's kind of what I've been doing recently is, what I'm supposed to be getting my apartment ready. But what I've really been doing is probably just reading lots of comics. But, it's study, so I don't feel too bad about that. And also, I've been playing lots of basketball. I think I mentioned before that my new apartment is close to a basketball court. So now, very quickly, I can walk. I think it takes about 5 or maybe 10 minutes to walk up the hill, but it's quite a high hill. So if I take the car, then I can be there in about 1 minute, 2 minutes. It's very close. It's probably a bit lazy to take the car for such a short distance, but when it's hot and you need to walk up a very big hill carrying my basketball and basketball shoes and everything, it feels kind of it feels much easier to take the car. So maybe I'm a bit lazy, but then I get there and I get lots of exercise, so it's okay. So I've been sort of busy doing things that I need to do, also just doing lots of things that I want to do, like study Japanese in fun ways. I've also been to help with my Japanese studies, and also because I enjoy it, I've been watching lots of Netflix recently. I always say to you guys, Netflix is really good for studying languages because they have good subtitle options. So you can watch things in English and read the English subtitles, or you can turn them off. So when I use it for Japanese, I usually watch it in Japanese, try to understand it. And if it's something very difficult that I can't quite hear, then I turn on the Japanese subtitles and read those and check if there was something I didn't understand and look it up. And recently I've been watching some reality TV. So this TV show is called Ainori, and it's about these young Japanese people who get in a van and then they go drive around in a different country. And while they're driving around, it's kind of like backpacking style. So the TV show gives them a little bit of money, and they have to buy their own food and arrange their own hotel. So they have a very small amount of money. they're kind of backpacking. This bus is taking them to places that they don't know where they're going. They just get taken somewhere. And at the same time, they are all trying to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They're all trying to get together. So it's a very interesting show because you're seeing people in these very crazy situations, and at the same time they're all trying to find love. So it's quite a fun show. Reality TV is something also that's really good for studying languages because it's very natural speaking. Sometimes if you watch movies and TV shows, of course you can learn a lot of kind of natural English from these, but sometimes it's a bit dramatic. Sometimes people speak in a way that we don't really speak in real life. This sort of like, it's too cool sometimes, like, hey, where are you going? It's kind of too dramatic, too cool, or something like that. But if you watch reality TV, then you'll be seeing real people reacting in a real way, and you can sort of try and copy what they do, and it's going to sound very natural. And there's so much reality TV in English because America really loves reality TV. There are some British ones, some Australian, some New Zealand, Canadian, but America really makes all kinds of reality TV. And some of them are just crazy ideas, and they can be really funny. I was talking to a student recently about this and explaining to him that there are reality TV shows about gun shops in America. There are reality TV shows about people like fixing your car in a crazy way, and they're like putting, sometimes putting like some kind of game in the car, or like putting like fish tanks in the car, or crazy things. Just all kinds of crazy TV shows. There's even one where people go fishing for catfish with their arms, and they catch these big fish just on their arm. So there's all kinds of crazy reality TV shows. So if you're interested, just go on Google and put American reality TV, and you'll see there's any kind of reality TV show. You can see people making cakes. You can see people running some kind of business. You can see people proposing business ideas, where like they're kind of asking for a loan, asking for money to start a new business idea. There's all kinds of things like that. So reality TV, good for studying languages. So I was supposed to be talking about what I've been doing recently. I just started talking about reality TV, but that's pretty much it. I've pretty much been preparing my apartment, reading comics, playing basketball, and kind of just exploring the new neighborhood where I live. My wife and I, we've been driving around trying to find new cafes and things like that. Of course, trying to be safe because it's still the coronavirus pandemic is still continuing. Seems like that's going to be going for a long time, so everybody please be safe. Anyway, I'll wrap it up here. That'll be about all for today. Thank you all very much for listening. If you're on the YouTube version, please subscribe, like, and comment. If you're listening to the podcast, follow and review. Everybody share with your friends, and I will see you all back here next time.